So good morning. Many of are still drinking coffee, but I'd like to present my paper about financing for SME, small and medium-sized enterprises. Oh, yeah. No? Can I? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. The first part, I'm going to talk about how important SMEs are in many Asian countries. And in Indonesia, about 60% of their production comes from SME. And Pakistan is also very important in SMEs. However, SMEs are very difficult to borrow money from banks. And Asia is dominated by banking sector. And this is the case of Japan. Bottom line is for SME loans, and top line is large companies. And large companies are very easy to borrow money compared to SMEs. That applies many Asian countries. Then SME in Asia, when they want to borrow money from banks, they have to have collateral. Then the interest rates are higher than large companies. And thirdly, the decision procedure of lending from the decision takes a long time. So that is very common in many Asian countries. And probably many people know Toyota and Honda. They also started from small business in Japan. And 7-Eleven, that is also started from a small business. And in case of Honda, he was not able to borrow money from local bank. And then he's decided to borrow money from other places. And then if the bank is reluctant to make loans, credit guarantee system is often used. However, credit guarantee has created huge deficits in many Asian countries. Mongolia has started credit guarantee system. When SMEs cannot borrow money, Credit Guarantee Corporation guarantees 80% or 85% of their loan losses. And it is very easy for SME to borrow money when this credit guarantee can be applied. However, in many Asian countries, this credit guarantee system went into bankrupt because it created moral hazard problem. When banks are difficult to lend money to SME, then they are asking Credit Guarantee Corporation to guarantee their loans. Then I have looked at how to avoid moral hazard problem for credit guarantee system. It will be very important to have differentiated credit guarantee ratio or differentiated credit guarantee fees depending on the performance of banks. So in this case, there are two groups of banks can be classified. One group of bank provide very good loans, and another group of bank has huge default loan losses. Then it is better to differentiate the credit guarantee ratio based on two different groups of banks. If the loans are very good and default risks are low, they should provide higher guarantee ratio. And other group of banks whose default losses are high, they should have lower credit guarantee ratio. And that will provide incentive mechanisms for banks to make better loans to SMEs. So in order to avoid bankruptcy of credit guarantee system, we have to create better system, differentiated guarantee ratio for the good banks versus bad banks that can avoid moral hazard problem. Next, big data analysis will be possible for existing SMEs. My following presentation by President Kuwahara, he will talk about credit risk database. I have applied slightly different method to Thailand, Japan, and several selected Asian countries. We can have the database, then we can apply principal component and cluster analysis. Then we can identify various kinds of SMEs by use of big data. Then we can classify by cluster analysis that group of the SMEs which are similar each other. Then this is a plot created by Thailand data. Right-hand side dot shows very good SMEs, and left-hand side is very risky SMEs. So using these big data analysis, we can classify one group of SME and second and third groups. And similar method can be applied to another country. And these are the existing SMEs. They have database. However, much more difficult SMEs are startups and very small businesses. Startups do not have any data. Then big data analysis cannot be applied. And hometown investment trust funds was created about 20 years ago in Japan. There are two methods to support SMEs. And this credit guarantee, hometown credit guarantee system uses internet as an intermediator. An internet company looks at startup businesses, agricultural products, various products. And these are the fisherman's products, and these are the strawberries and so on. Many of these new inventions come from individuals or small farmers from all over Japan. And this internet company visits all those SMEs and startup business. And if they think these products are good, then they advertise these products through internet. Then consumers can access to various startup products through internet. And if they think it is very good, they can keep on purchasing the products. And these are the agricultural farmers' product. And second type of startup initiative is providing investment to individuals. Left-hand side is Cambodian lady who wanted to start their own shop along the road. And right-hand side is 40 Vietnamese ladies who want to start their own business along the station. They could not borrow money from banks. And hometown crowdfunding, these are advertised through internet. The many individuals in Japan put it about $10, $50 to support these ladies and startups. Then 200, 400 people get together, and these 40 Vietnamese ladies started their own business. And these startup businesses are sometimes very difficult to sell their products. But these internet services can provide their sales opportunities for many individuals. Last point is about borrowing side of SMEs and households. Debt overhang is a very big problem in many countries. One can borrow money from money lenders. And they charge, in Japan, they used to charge 96% of interest rates about 20 years ago. And very high rate of interest, many small businesses, individuals went into bankrupt. And I was chairing these sessions, and left-hand side is the household debt of Korea. And right-hand side is household debt of the United States, and this is the case of Japan. And household debt has been increased many countries. And even in developing countries, household debt are growing. Credit card and digital technology can be available, then people tend to use lots of credit card and they go into bankrupt. I heard in Thailand, many teachers have become already in bankrupt. So how to avoid these household over debt? And these are the equations I have applied when I look at the household borrowing behavior. Then several variables are important. First one is amount of loan divided by income. Then how much % of their income they consume and how much they save. What are their marginal propensity to consume? And how many years are they borrowing? And interest rates. Then we can have the condition in what cases the household will go into bankrupt. Then based on this equation, Japan has introduced the following reforms for household in order to avoid household debt, SME debt. One is loan divided by income ratio should be lower than 1/3. One cannot borrow money more than 1/3 of their income. Secondly, interest rate has been set, the maximum interest rate set to 20%. And then we have aggregated all the information of borrowers into one government national database. So if one is borrowing money from various money lenders and banks, then they are all consolidated into one. Then this database will be available to banks and money lenders, so they can look at those amount of money, and if their loans are exceeding 1/3 of their income, they stop lending money. Then we also created the self-regulatory organization of money lenders, and they are regulating by themselves. And lastly, consumer hotline was established. And if some money lender charges more than 20%, then they can call this hotline. And financial service agencies, like a central bank, has been watching these money lenders. And that has been avoiding these high money lending in Japan. And Thailand is going to apply my model into their household debt and small business debt. And we are now using their database and to identify what kind of criteria will be needed. And probably in Thailand, initial loan divided by income should be regulated by the Central Bank of Thailand in order to avoid debt overhang. And also maximum interest rate charged in Thailand should be regulated in near future. So in my presentation, I was talking about the household and SME finance data analysis. Lastly, I touched upon how to avoid debt overhang for small businesses and households. I hope some of these initiatives can be applied into Pakistan. Thank you very much.